Yo, what's poppin', guys? Today I got the rest of my ranked ladder Zefra replays. I played two slightly different versions of the deck. This is the first one right here. And here's a slight variation I was testing. You'll see both of them in the replays. And I hope you guys can learn from some of the plays I made and also learn from my mistakes. Very important. Don't make the same mistakes that I did, and you'll win a ton more games like that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Not only are we beating the allegations here, we're also going to be beating 3 hand traps here. Not that there are any allegations, but it was a nice segue, wasn't it? So they're going to ogre the Wakaushi, which I think is probably correct, right? You could also consider ogring the Benkei. But I think that's fine. Hitting Darkworm also pretty fine, honestly, because the 2-card combo is very strong. Unfortunately for them, I just still opened everything. This Imperm, I would not recommend if you're playing against this deck. I would definitely keep this for, what's it called, for Electromite. Because there's nothing like really threatening off of this. I guess like a high scale, but it's too risky because I can just go Electromite. If I have any penned in my hand, it's game over. So the cool thing is we get to scale this actually. And that's going to let Astrograph search another one. And by doing that, we get to our high scale here. So yeah, we're going to grab the Lightworm here, get the Exceed, grab back the Astrograph to my hand here, and they're going to surrender here. So to play this out, you would just summon any of these 2 guys with Exceed, make the Apo, and then you summon out the 2 7s. 1 from hand, 1 from extra deck, and then 2 4s here, and that just makes Apo plus, I don't know, like you can make a Dweller, and then you can make or you could probably just make, I think IP plus Vortex is probably just best. And then if you chainlink it correctly, you can even use the IP to make an SP and then summon out the Vortex for an Omni Negate, and then you get to bounce with the Vortex as well. So yeah, they realize they're pretty screwed since they're down to 3 cards, including the draw next turn, and that's the game. Alright, going second here into Snake Eye Fire King. They're going to lead off with the Snash, so already we know we're not in for a good time here. But we're going to sit through this, see if we can maybe break the board. Hand's not the absolute best with the Bunbuku and the search target for already. The Praxton also not the best thing. It looks like we're going to have to low scale the Zefrath with this hand potentially as well. Or we just want to use the Lightworm as a tuner. We'll have to see what we draw here first. Let them set up their whole board. And fortunately for them, they seem to know what they're doing, which is unfortunate for us here, as they are going to end on IP Himblue Whale Flamberge, and they can bring back the Arvada during the start of my turn. We draw into Darkworm, which is pretty nice here. Now we are just going to high scale this, pen out a whole ton of bodies, activate a whole bunch of stuff. I don't care about Bunbuku resolving, so we're going to put that on the highest chain link. That gets negated. And now he's going to start clearing my scales, which I think is a major misplay here. I think you should definitely focus on getting rid of the monsters. Making the IP here to bait out his Promethean Princess. It's going to clear my tuner. We're going to get rid of the SP so I don't have to deal with that. And now we still have enough bodies to go into Electromite here. Pop in the Gate Magician here for the Astrograph. Another free draw as well. Gonna be the Dragon Shrine. Exceed's gonna add back the Astrograph again, and we're just gonna re-trigger it with our Gate Magician here. Summon out for free. Go ahead, grab a Wings of Light. Now, unfortunately, we don't get to go for like a super high scale, but we do get to send the Darkworm, which has a lower level than its scale. So we actually do get to climb up here a little bit, go for an SP. And we're going to clear his field spell to blow up his entire board, while also summoning out the Vortex in order to negate the Flamberge in the same chain link. Going to grab the Divine Strike for a negate. And we're just going to sit on this. We don't have any pendulums we can summon back with the Exceed here, but I prefer to just keep the Little Knight and the 2 negates that we have. It's going to lead off with Poplar. Subversion, just going to get dodged, is what I would hope. But, I mean, this eats Subversion at least, right? And turns out they don't have any plays. We're going to go ahead and negate this completely, especially when they reveal this, because they have 1 card left in hand for disruption, and we can just start playing here. We have a ton of zones to pen summon to, because we did keep the Exceed, and it's just a free win through the whole board. Alright, so in this replay, our opponent is opting to go second for some reason with 53 cards in their deck. So we're just going to go ahead and lead with a normal super heavy line here. Kind of fast forward this, nothing interesting happening here. Going to conserve our normal summon because we do have that Dark Worm we prefer to normal here. And they're going to Bestial our Destrudo. Now this makes me sad. I would have liked to have the Destrudo, but it is what it is, right? And now we get Nibbed as well, which is pretty wild because the Druiswurm gets to send the Nib token now. So fortunately we still have our normal summon with the Dark Worm here. And we can just grab the Light Worm for our high scale or our tuner. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be scaling to Akaushi again here. We go for the Boral Savage. Go into our Electromite here. And now when we get to pop this, we get to scale our Gate Magician here. It's going to trigger the Astrograph. Now we get to make an Absolute with these guys here. Summon out another free body to make the Exceed. It's going to grab back our Light Worm to summon it out. Get back the Dark Worm so we have some nice follow-up. And the Apple comes out, making the Vortex to bounce the Nib so it doesn't threaten the Apple right off the bat. We do have to be aware that they do have a Nib in hand, but they can't really play through this after being down effectively 2 cards from their hand into 4 disruptions. All right, here we are going to be going second into some stun version of Yubel. I'm going to lead off with the Phantom, set 1. Kind of awkward, honestly. Looks super breakable so far. So we're going to go ahead and just lead with a super heavy line. This just gets us a ton of advantage. Should eat a disruption at least here. Go ahead with Kaushi. He's going to max see me here. And then he flips Summon Limit, which prevents me from playing any further into the maxi. So pretty interesting. But maybe they were a bit afraid here. They're going to pop my Benkei, which is really obnoxious because, of course, we only run 1 in this iteration of the build. Now, he's going to go ahead and Phantom negate our search here, which is really awkward. So we're going to go ahead and make a Baguska, just stall for time here. We do have some outs to the summon limit, actually. Unfortunately, we do get Super Polyed here. It was 2 Earth monsters with different types, but he also just had Yubel on field, so he's going to go for a Loving Defender here. Go for a Phantom as well. Pass back. He can't play any further because he's also under his own summon limit. So we're going to lead with the Revolution because he Phantomed it last time. So I feel like, maybe he'll use it here again. Wings of Light going to grab the Gate Magician. It's going to replace itself here. It's going to get that low scale into rotation. Now he's going to Lotus. That's going to be the Spirit of Yubel. He can't play any further than this. As you can see, this doesn't even trigger because he is under his own summon limit. And we're going to flip this in the end phase to just get that search out here. And this is where we are going to go ahead and Pendulum summon 5 bodies here. Important that we also summon out the Droll, so good thing we have the Gate here. And now our second summon is going to be the Axis Code to pop the summon limit. And now since we still have our normal summon and we have that last copy of Wings of Light, we actually get to go into Electromite here. I don't care about anything he does from this game stay unless his 1 unknown in hand is actually something super relevant. Because here we do get to send out the Astrograph for free. We got the Absolute Dragon here. And that's going to make an SP. And the Vortex. So we're going to banish the Yubel. Vortex is going to bounce that right back. Access code, gonna clear a bunch of stuff here, and I opt to not go battle phase because I don't want him to have the Grave Squirmer in the graveyard actually. So as you can see, he's gonna go ahead and craft to crash it because that's what he wants to do, right? He wants to have it in the graveyard. So I'm gonna go ahead, just negate that. And it turns out he has an opening here, so he's gonna start playing here a bit again. But fortunately, we do have the Little Knight. So we're going to banish this from his field, forcing him to pop something in hand or fizzle the effect. Turns out he had nothing in hand, so he's going to set one more here. And since I have a negate and I have a way to just clear his entire board here anyways, he's going to surrender. Alright, so in this game, I feel like I misplay a little bit at the beginning. I'm going to be playing to like the full Yubel board. And my thought process was that in the left two zones over here, he's going to have Nightmare Pain and a Phantom of Yubel. And I wanted to Revolution Dragon for Darkworm, summon into left zone, use the Valence Field spell, and then push the Phantom of Yubel into the Nightmare Pain, clearing both of them at once. But it's honestly just too greedy because we know he has a pop anyways. And it will also turn off my motorbike. I think I should have just led motorbike, start off with that line, see how much disruption that eats, and then commit to what I was trying to do. So here we go. I get punished for this. And I'm just going to go ahead and bring this back anyways. Now, fortunately for me, they have decided to keep Sharvara on the field for some reason. And this card says, while it is face up the monster zone, you cannot special summon monsters except fiend monsters. So fortunately, I'm not going to get hit by an SP here. I'm going to go try to force out the back row here. It's going to get negated. Maybe I should have chain blocked this in a different way. Probably should have given up on one of my searches here. And instead opted to pop the back row here. Go ahead, send out the Gate Magician. Now they're not firing it off here. So we're going to go into Absolute Dragon. Very nice. And here we're just going to keep link climbing, go into the Exceed the Pendulum, just grab back a Gate Magician, slap that down here, and now we go into Access Code, chain blocking the summon of our Vortex. We're just going to bounce the Yubel. He's going to activate Eternal Favorite, which of course we're going to negate with that Absolute Quickness here. And we're going to work on clearing his board, popping all the stuff. We go Battle Phase. I think if I attacked in the other order, he would not have added back to Sharvara. I guess there's nothing else he really wants to add back. I guess Sharvara's like the main target he wants to add back. So I probably should have attacked the Link 3 first here. I was going to go ahead and search for a counter trap. And now I decide to make an SP Little Knight. Since Access Code offers nothing on the end board, and I do see the Grave Squirmer here in the graveyard, I just want to keep him off of as many resources as possible. I'm going to go ahead and lead with Phantom of Yubel. If we look here, he does have the Spirit of Yubel anyways, so he would have been able to make it even if I had cleared one of his Yubel monsters. I'm going to go ahead and negate this with the counter trap. Very nice. He's going to go for this line here. Now, do remember that he can't use the Phantom of Yubel negate again. This one is a hard once per turn, even though he can summon it multiple times. The negate is a hard once per turn. So his line here is he wants to use the Sharvara to pop his Yubel. And of course, I'm just going to fizzle that with a Little Knight. Remove that from the field. And this does give him a free summon though, but nothing really of value. He goes into Typhon, just beats over my guy here. Yubel is going to commit Sudoku in the end phase because he'd prefer to keep the Typhon up. But unfortunately for him, we're going to go for a massive Pendulum summon here. Pause it real quick as he does surrender here. But I can just activate the Thubin to pop his Typhon. We have 53 on board already. Thubin would just pop the Zefra here. And this doesn't float because it's not a Yubel monster. He doesn't have anything engraved that would come back since he's already used the Yama. And we know that the card in hand is also not the Spirit of Yubel. It is a Sharvara. I guess he could chain it to pop this, but at that point he's on Sharvara. I don't really care. And we can just keep making some plays here and just win the game. Especially if I just go to a big apple afterwards, what's he gonna do, right?